September 2022. 6. Commencement of campaign by political parties for governorship and state assembly elections, Wednesday, 12th October 2022.
A new law in place, so new innovations also expected.
And we have no doubt the capacity is there for us to transmit results from all the polling units.
With this announcement, an era of political intrigues, manipulations, and outsmarting is here. The party flags will also soon come alive. Mayor Ogide, NT News.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo today departed Abuja for Arusha, Tanzania, to attend the formal opening of the 2022 judicial year of the African Court for Human and People's Rights. The Vice President has been designated as the guest speaker at the inaugural event to be attended by leaders from across the continent and beyond. He will speak on the theme, the African Court and the Africa he wants. The African Court on Human and People's Rights was established pursuant to the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the establishment of an African Court on Human and People's Rights adopted on Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso on 9th June 1998. While in Tanzania, the Vice President will also hold bilateral talks with his counterpart, Dr. Philip Isdo Pangu. The Vice President is expected to be back in Abuja on Tuesday, 1st March 2022. 27th of February is the World NGO Day, dedicated to recognize and honor non-profit-making organizations, donor agencies, individuals, and groups committed to selfless service to humanity for development. In this report, Elizabeth Omori examines their contributions to governance and challenges they face in service delivery in Nigeria.
14. There was a proclamation that 27th of February every year should be a day for the NGO community worldwide. This international recognition of NGOs stemmed from their efforts since the 18th century, when the world witnessed several humanitarian crises. The formation of the United Nations in 1945 shifted conversations from the use of military power to propagating sustainable peace through dialogue to bring succor to the weak in societies. In line with Article 71 of the UN Charter, there arose several NGOs engaged in several activities ranging from political, human rights protection, humanitarian aids, environment, gender advocacy, peace and legislative matters, health and sanitation, among others. Jake Epele, founder of the Albino Foundation, is a critical actor whose passion to changing lives transcends color or race.
I think the greatest milestone that we should celebrate in 2022, which is the beginning of the year, is the Ascent to the Electoral Act. It has a provision that makes it possible for persons with disability to actively participate in the electoral process.
That part got passed and assented in 2015. Well, there was a lot of legislative advocacy for 14 years for them to get there. RAPA was one of those organizations among the 65 LACVA organizations that came together to ensure that.
Fueled by collaboration and innovation, individuals and groups are still committed to volunteerism to influence policies and people-centered programs.
Lack of sustainable partnership is a challenge.
Being able to get access to funding to run the foundation is a bit tricky.
Their aim is to contribute to ameliorating the plight of people in their need of life-sustaining basic facilities. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NT News.
Traditional rulers have resolved to continue to propagate unity, religious tolerance, and peaceful coexistence in their domain to ensure the corporate existence of Nigeria is protected. This was part of resolutions at the meeting of the National Development Summit of Traditional Rulers held in Abuja. Chidimwa Ndubisi tells us more.
This is a gathering of royal fathers who are concerned about the country's current situation. They are here fashioning out ways of lending their energy in supporting government's agenda, especially now that election year is drawing near.
We have supported the security agencies to ensure that they get adequate information so that they can nip any problems in the bud. So our meetings, our aim is to continue giving this cooperation.
People are coming together to say, what do we do to see that our various kingdoms and domains are protected and sensitize our people from any election violence.
Traditional relationship is a major avenue to unite this country and bring peace.
The traditional rulers are also making some demands they feel will solidify their roles.
The role of traditional rulers should be enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Traditional rulers suggested the establishment of Federal Ministry of Chieftaincy Affairs.
The National Development Summit of Traditional Rulers is a body for all monarchs of all classes, which complements activities of the umbrella body, the National Council of Traditional Rulers. In Abuja, Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Minister of Youth and Sports Development Sunday Dare says sports facilities in the country are just 20% and inadequate for a population of over 220 million people. Dalatu Abdullahi reports that the minister made the disclosure in Sokoto while inspecting the ongoing construction of modern sports city in Gasarao area.
In 2020, the government awarded contract for the construction of a modern sports city in Sokoto as part of commitment for youth development. The main stadium and athletics had the seating capacity for over 11,500 fans, while the indoor sports hall had the capacity for 1,000 spectators. The indoor sports hall comprised of administrative office, 9 badminton courts, 3 volleyball courts, 3 tennis courts, 1 handball field, 2 squashes, 2 aerobic halls, 3 gymnastic hall, and a jubilee tennis and pool hall. Inspecting the facilities, the Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare, appreciated the commitment of Sokoto State Government for investing in youth, who make 68% of the nation's population. The facility is expected to be the largest in size in the country. Sunday Dare noted that the federal government will ensure the certification of the facility for continental and international competitions.
And all I can say is to thank His Excellency the Governor for investing not just in sports, but also in the youth of Sokoto State, the northern states, and also the country.
Governor Aminu Azeri Tambol stated that the idea is in recognition of the role of sports in promoting national unity and cohesion.
The Honourable Minister of Sports and Youth Development has just given us some observations which may necessitate some additional cost, and that will be factored into the final cost of the project when completed.
It is hoped that when the construction work is completed, other policies will follow to facilitate public-private partnership in the management of the facilities. In Sokoto, Dalatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal has expressed optimism that the adoption of the current technology by the Nigerian Immigration Service will make it meet the contemporary needs of the global immigration service. Sheikh Muhammad Detti reports that Tambuwal made the assertion when the Assistant Controller General in charge of Zone B, Zainab Lawal, called on him at Government House, Sokoto.
According to Governor Tambuwal, the use of technology will no doubt ease the service to track illegal immigrants at the border and within the country, as well as enhance the security among Nigerians. He extolled the decision of Nigeria Immigration Service in rotating its annual meeting, saying such will further offer opportunity to freely interact with personnel, know the challenges, and as well identify better ways of making the service better.
Adoption and use of technology is the only way that we can actually nip some of these crimes in the bud and then also ensure that we have a more secure and safe society.
The Assistant Controller General in charge of Zone B, Zainab Lawal, said the service is seriously concerned about the security challenges along the borders of Sokoto State. This, according to her, informed the decision of the International Organization of Migration to donate motorcycles for patrol operations by men of the Nigerian Immigration Service. She added that the Nigerian Immigration Service Command in the state will soon organize a sensitization program for traditional rulers on the movements of people, particularly along the borders.
The essence of doing this is for us to be able to know, to go ahead, to be able to know how many people comes into our country. And we have that person's profile. If there is anything, we can just pop it up.
The Assistant Comptroller General of the Immigration Service, Zainab Lawal, had earlier inaugurated the operational motorcycles at the State Command of the Nigerian Immigration Service. In Sokoto, Shu Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
There is more on Panorama. Please stay with us.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control has confirmed 40 new cases of COVID-19 as at Saturday, 26th of February 2022. The breakdown shows that Lagos State is leading with 29 cases, followed by Delta, 7 cases, while FCT and Rivers have 2 cases each. This brings the total number of confirmed cases in Nigeria to 254,501, with 248,993 discharged, while 3,142 deaths were recorded. The need for the Sokoto State government to take more action towards achieving the mass vaccination campaign target has been stressed. These were the views of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and other partners during their recent advocacy visit to the state. Lato Abdullahi reports.
From the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic, governments and health professionals across the globe have been battling on how to handle the deadly disease and care for the infected persons, as well as possible preventive measures. Various types of vaccines have been provided to serve as preventive mechanisms against the disease, in addition to several safety measures. Active community engagement remains a challenge on the level of adherence to safety measures, and vaccination, in which figures available plays a key role in assessing performance in that regard. To this end, Sokoto has been identified as among the low-performing states in the COVID-19 vaccine uptake, and for the state to meet the target, 1,412,131, making the 50% of the eligible population need to be vaccinated against the pandemic between now and the end of March this year. The advocacy visit also highlights the performance of Sokoto State government on COVID-19 routine immunization, reproductive, maternal, newborn, child and adolescent health services. In Sokoto, Dalhata Abdullahi, NTA News.
With me in the studio at present is Dr. Abdurrahman Ahmad, Director of Public Health, Sokoto State Ministry of Health, to discuss on COVID-19 vaccination update. Sir, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, sir, COVID-19 vaccination is ongoing all over the country, or the state, rather. Can you give us an update on the vaccination coverage in Sokoto?
Okay. So the coverage for Sokoto as at yesterday, Sokoto is able to vaccinate 7% of its eligible population with space dose, and over 3% of the persons that receive first dose receive their second dose, which is we are approaching 50% of people fully protected. It's very true that we are not going at a phase that is expected, like most other states, unlike specifically Nasarawa State and Jigawa, who exceeded every other state in the country. We have our unique challenges that are mitigating to that, one of which is Sokoto is highly religious state, predominated by Muslims. We have a lot of myths and misconceptions and false information going around, which unfortunately, before even the vaccine arrives in Africa, these false messages started filtering around with a lot of fake videos and fabricated informations that is being fed to the ears of the populace. Unfortunately, first impression make a very big remark. Communicators believe in that. Despite our numerous efforts of one-on-one engagement, media engagement, sensitizations, leaflets, and all that, we are still battling to correct those first impression given wrongly by people that supposed not to talk about the vaccination.
So what's the target population for Sokoto State?
Target population for Sokoto is about 3 million individuals, because we have the target population is those age 18 and above, which constitute 51.4% of the total population. So Sokoto is roughly 6 million. So when you take that, we will be targeting to vaccinate 3 million individuals. So out of which now we vaccinated over 200,000. So we are still progressing. In recent times, we are seeing a lot of progress. At the beginning of the week that just ended now, Sokoto was second, third at the bottom. Now Sokoto has moved 5 places to 7th at the bottom. So we are progressing, and we are very optimistic that Sokoto will be out of the woods. We get to our contemporaries.
Okay.
God willing.
So according to data from National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Sokoto State needs to vaccinate about 1,000, which you mentioned, and 50 eligible population against the pandemic before the end of March this year. Yeah. How far so far?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we are making progress. Moving from third from the bottom to 7th from the bottom, I think is a commendable achievement, looking into the constraints that we have. And we are not relenting on our efforts. We are engaging the religious institutions, the traditional institutions, and the community resource groups that we have. And at the moment, we have a strategy is developed called Scale Strategy version 2.0. Sokoto subscribed to it, whereby we are going to develop micro plans, taking all the eligible populations with all the strategies to reach all of them. And the good news for Sokoto is that people are getting aware, because now we are having people coming on their own to get COVID vaccinated. So we want to encourage people to know that all those messages circulating are actually false. Because people, if you could receive COVID vaccination, you will die in 6 months, we will all have been in our graves by now. This is almost 1 year after receiving my first dose, and I'm still alive and not having any issue. So it's lies and fabrication. Magnetism is false. The ions in this hole would have been attached to me by now. I have no magnetism anywhere. So it's false. We are passing this information across all the strata, and we are happy we are seeing the results. Honestly, people are coming now on their own to receive vaccination.
Right.
So we get there.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program. And that was Dr. Abdurrahman Ahmad, Director of Public Health, Sokoto State Ministry of Health. And now for sports news, we join our sports desk for sports update.
The second edition of Rear Admiral Festus Pobeni National Race came to a close weekend, with Africa's #1 Ayomide Bello dominating the women race, winning 5 gold in both C1 and K1 categories. Moses Michael from Delta State took the lead in men's category with 4 gold medals. A host of dignitaries witnessed the grand finale of the 3-day event, which climaxed with the official commissioning of Jabi Lake Training Center in Abuja.
This rowing and sailing started so as to nurture athletes, bring them up, train them to get to podium.
It's still not where we want to be, but definitely it's been better than what we've had in the past.
In the meantime, Chief of Naval Spikers continued their winning streak in this year's Kontagora Invitational Challenge, beating CAF Ambassador 2-0 on Sunday as the competition enters day 4, Monday. Other matches played on Sunday saw Scorpion Spikers lose 1-2 to NASA Thunder. Games Village humbled Niger Brass 2-0, while G-Ranks was 2-0 better than Stinging Bees in the men's category. In the women's category, Kada Emeralds beat NASA Queens 2-1. Chief of Army Spikers lost 1-2 to Niger Raven. Defense Spikers humiliates Scorpion Spikers 2-0, while Chief of Naval Spikers triumphed 2-0 over Yelwa Spikers of Bauchi.
The right step in the right direction. Our CNS has been encouraging and has been supporting us in all ways. So we too, as the players, we just want to give in our best and make sure that old glory, we want to restore it back.
In tennis, Rafael Nadal continues his perfect start to 2022 as he adds another trophy to his cabinet from the Mexican Open, beating Britain's Cameron Norrie 6-4, 6-4 to lift his 4th Acapulco ATP title 4 weeks after winning the Australian Open. Despite a foot injury scare, the 35-year-old Spaniard has won all 3 tournaments he has played this year to reach the 91st title of his career, only behind Jimmy Connors, Roger Federer and Ivan Lendl. With sports updates, Cynthia Ogun, NTA News.
Panorama this afternoon, remember to connect with NTA, Stand Against Rape and Rapists. Be a star.
We want to talk about rights, there are obligations. I'm not saying that this government is a saint, very far from it. But there are things that we can